Being at uni is great. The freedom. Being a Christian is great. The freedom that comes from knowing Jesus. Being a Christian at university, that can sometimes be hard. Have you ever had someone insult you because of your faith? Because you chose to live differently? Because the choices that you make and the way that you act isn't like them? When I was 21, I went to university, and in my first year and my first term, I met Jesus. It totally transformed my life, and I know a freedom and a fullness that I had never encountered. I wouldn't change that decision for the world, but it hasn't been easy being a Christian amongst friends who aren't, or being the only person in my family who doesn't go to church. I want to encourage you today and in your walk with Jesus and remind you to stand firm despite what's going on around you or been happening to you perhaps. In his letter to the church in Corinth, Paul, the writer of Corinthians 1 and 2, he speaks to the church there who he had visited a few months prior, and he wanted to encourage them and call them to more. He saw their potential, but he also saw that they were doing things that weren't quite right, and there were these divisions kind of among them. So he knew he had to do something, and it required his immediate attention. In Corinthians 16, verses 13 to 14, we read this: "Keep alert, stand firm in your faith, be courageous, be strong, let all that you do be done in love." In these two verses, Paul gives us 5 commandments. Keep alert, stand firm, be courageous, be strong, let all that you do be done in love. Let's take a moment here then and just break these down. So the first, be alert. When we become a Christian, we will face kind of struggles. At the end of the day, there is an enemy who is against us, and we are called to tell people about the good news of Jesus. So that's going to happen. When we're at university, there are all kinds of things going on that will try and pull us in and knock us down. Spending our student budget on clothes we just don't need, just to try and fit in with other people. Drinking, drugs, sexual promiscuity. Talking badly about our course mates and our flatmates behind their backs just to fit in with those conversations. So the first thing that Paul tells us is to be alert. Not everyone will get the decisions that you make, and you actually may come up against people kind of attacking you, and maybe that's a good thing because of the decisions that you're making. I did. I had a few years out before I went to uni because I couldn't quite work out what I wanted to do with my life. But this meant that the majority of my close friends back home, they didn't get it. This made kind of our friendships hard at times as I was kind of going backwards and forwards. And as you well know, when you're at university, a term feels like a lifetime, right? So much happens. But the term when I started going to church, and the term where I gave my life to Jesus and the decision to follow him, things got serious. I changed. My close friends supported me and could see the positive ways I was becoming better, but some of my friends found it hard. Several years later, I was at a wedding with some of these friends, and we were sat round a table. And I knew them, but some of them I didn't know quite so well anymore. And they didn't know me. They still thought I was that kind of party girl. As is often the case at weddings, they began to drink and drink. The more they drank, the more they insulted me. Asked me questions like, "Are you really a Bible basher?" And laughing in my face, actually. They struggled to understand me and the choices that I now made. It was hard and it was painful. We need to be alert to the ways in which the world and the flesh might try to pull us in and pull us down. I don't know about your university experience, but sometimes being the only Christian in the room can be hard. But if we're not there, who's going to tell people about Jesus? Who will? And truthfully, if my housemate at university hadn't have spoken to me about Jesus, then I might not be here right now talking to you. However, whilst there might be an enemy against us, there is a God who is for us and with us, and he is for you and he is with you, and you are on the winning side. So how do we be at university yet live this life we know God is inviting us into? A life in all its fullness. So firstly, we stay alert to kind of what's going on, but then we stand firm, Paul tells us. We stand firm in the knowledge of who we are, whose we are, and the goodness that we have in Jesus and knowing him. We stand firm. Maybe you've just started university and you're trying to navigate being a Christian at uni, or maybe you've just made the decision to follow Jesus, or maybe you've even been doing this for a while. Stand firm in the decisions that you make. Stand firm in the knowledge of who you are, who God is, who he created you to be, and how deeply loved you are, and that you are on the right path. The Bible talks about a wide and a narrow gate, a path that is wide and all your friends are going down. It's wider, it's easier. And then there's the narrow one, which is harder, but it's so much richer. It's so much more rewarding, and it has a relationship with God. Believe me, it is good. So stand firm. The next thing it says is to be courageous. This is a bit of a funny one, and stick with me here as I kind of explain this to you. In the original Greek, it doesn't say be courageous. We've actually kind of translated that. What it actually says is be like a man. Some of you ladies might be thinking, I don't want to be like a man. Like I say, stick with me here. What Paul means when he says this is, well, because at that time he would have been speaking to a predominantly male church. So bear that in mind. So what he's saying is to be like men and not like boys. In this he means to be like adults and not like children. What this then means for us in a university context is this. You are not young anymore. You're not youth. You're young adults. As you are growing, stand firm. Be the adults that you are in this season of life. Don't be childlike in your actions and your words, in the way you treat others. Be bold. Be the person God is calling you to be, which might mean being the only person in the room who speaks the way you speak, who treats others the way you treat others, and who loves people the way Jesus would. Stand firm in all those things. Be courageous. The next one then is be strong. And again, this is similar here with standing firm. However, when it talks about being strong in the Bible, the great news is that it's not about us. When the Bible talks about strength, it doesn't tell us that we have to be strong and doing this in our own strength. When we are weak, he comes in and he makes us strong. And some of you might even be struggling right now with the workload, with missing your family, your friends. Be strong. By leaning on him, he will provide you with that strength. Let him strengthen you with the things that are hard. Then finally, let all that you do be done in love. And let me say that again. Let all that you do be done in love. So often the Bible talks about love. And that's because Jesus came so that you would know that you are loved. The Bible tells us that God is love. It tells us that he sent his one and only son to die so that you would know that you are loved. And so it's from this place that we do everything in love. When we speak to our friends on campus, we do it in love. The way we interact with our housemates, we do it in love because we are loved. So in reflection, I want to ask you these two questions as I come to close. What areas in your life do you sense Jesus is asking you to stand firm? And how could you love those around you this week? Maybe the people who are attacking you. How could you show them love as you stand firm? Do it all in love because he first loved us.